Welcome back, everyone. My name is Renee Brandon, and today I am joined by Nancy Boyd. Welcome, Nancy.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Nancy, I'd love to start with your story. Can you share with us what pivotal moment led you to transition from conventional education teacher to a soul mechanic?
That is a great question. And like many stories, it has not been linear. Um, it's been a long and winding road and one of trial and error, discoveries, realizations, awakenings. Wow, it's been more like a spiral than a superhighway. So when I was faced with a sudden medical emergency, it was in 1997, I believe, that disrupted my career and forced me to pivot into unknown territory. During my recovery, though, I had time to consider what I could do with myself, how I could best be of service in the world, and how I could contribute to making the world better, what I could do with myself under limited conditions. And part of that pivot led me to Coach You, where I learned skills that would open a new career path for me that I had never considered before. And that led me to even deeper self growth as I worked with people one to one and in groups. And eventually, because of client feedback, it became clear that the work I do is very unique. Um, whatever I'm working on, whatever we're working on, I'm coaching your soul. It's always been that way from the very start. And since then, it's evolved to a level where I can serve even more people through some of the programs that I'm now creating through the Soul Path Academy. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's the best answer I have.
No, that's perfect. That's great. So, how do you describe the role of a soul mechanic? And what makes this approach unique in the field of personal transformation?
That is a great question. You know, I often tell people that a soul mechanic is kind of like your go-to person when your inner check engine light comes on. And it's just like a car needs a tune-up. Sometimes our souls need a little TLC too. And in my role as a soul mechanic, I dive deep into the core of who you are. It's not just about fixing surface level issues. In other words, we're not just going to some of the belts and hoses, right, or give you, uh, when you have your engine tuned up in your car, sometimes you do an oil change and certain routine things, and we may do some of that kind of thing too. But what we do in deep soul work is we really get under the hood and understand what's really going on for you. And I help people navigate their conscious and spiritual landscapes and make sure that everything is running smoothly and efficiently. You can think of me as someone who tunes up your soul so that you can purr with power again.
I love that.
Yeah, when people hear spiritual, they think religion. And maybe in some cases that would be true, but for the work I do, it transcends those kind of terms and it's simple and direct. And we don't get into so much about your belief systems except as it affects who you really are and what you're here to do, what your soul wants for and from you. Um, One of the things that makes this approach unique is that it's both intuitive and practical. Many times personal transformation work can feel a little bit abstract, like almost like trying to grasp a cloud. How do you do that? Well, I bring it down to earth and we work with tangible steps and real world applications. So it really makes sense to you. It's something you can grip hold of and work with, do something with. Um, it not only is meaningful to you, but it's something that you can take into your life and make work for you the way that you've always wanted it to, and maybe it hasn't before. So, another reason that my work is very unique is because my own journey has been anything but ordinary, from surviving personal traumas to having 3 near-death experiences. I've really been through the ringer. And so
Wow.
these experiences give me a unique perspective and a deep empathy that clients can resonate with. And, let's be honest, life is complicated enough. My approach to deep spiritual work is includes a deep dose of practicality and a sprinkle of humor, because we all need to lighten up sometimes. It isn't all serious. It doesn't have to be serious. And at the end of the day, it's about people helping people to become the best versions of themselves, not just in theory, but in a way that feels real and sustainable, in a way that allows you to experience the truth about who you really are in a warm, embracing environment, be seen and appreciated, affirmed and celebrated.
Wow, that's deep. You said so much there, and it's definitely needed. Um, I was thinking one thing that jumped out at me on your website is that you mentioned that every adversity is a call to greatness. That really just hit me. Can you elaborate on how you help individuals turn their adversities into opportunities for growth?
Absolutely. Um, I believe that adversities are the universe's way of tapping your shoulder and saying, hey, there's more to this than you realize. They're invitations to step into a greater version of ourselves. Um, you can choose to look at it that way. Sometimes we don't, but it is an opportunity, an open doorway that we can enter to help shape your experience. Because um, if we look at the beliefs that you hold about your situation, so what do you think is going on? Often it's those beliefs that shape what happens for you. For instance, if you believe that a setback is the end of the road, that's everything's over, it probably will be. But if you see it as a detour leading to an even better path, that's exactly what it becomes.
Mm,
So I help people identify and challenge limiting beliefs that might be holding them back so they can experience the true power they didn't realize they had. So, and then we'll be working on shifting your mindset. This might involve moving from a victim mentality to one of empowerment. It's about recognizing that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can control how you respond to it. And by cultivating a mindset of growth and resilience, like I can do something with this, you can start to see adversities as opportunities to learn and grow. Now, that's not easy, but that's one of the reasons why you have me, someone like me in your life, to show you how to navigate all those things that show up. Um, in everything, we dive into the realm of consciousness, and that's where the real meat of the matter is. This is where we get really deep, exploring how your level of awareness and state of mind impact your reality. When you raise your consciousness, you can start to operate from a higher perspective and seeing the bigger picture and understand the greater purpose behind your challenges. And there will usually be one, even though you can't see it initially. All you can see is, oh, this is trouble. I don't want to be part of it, right? But
mhm.
there's more to it than that.
Yes.
So throughout this process, it's important to keep things practical and actionable. Um, we might set some clear, attainable goals and create a roadmap for how to move forward. And yeah, we're going to sprinkle some humor along the way because this is going to be funny. Some of it can be hilarious because sometimes a good laugh is just what you need to lighten up the mood and shift your perspective. It'll be a lot more fun than you think it will be. And I guess in essence, I guide individuals to the power of who they are at their core and to transform their adversities into stepping stones to their highest potential. It's about mastering your inner world so you can navigate the outer world with grace and strength. I turn clumsy and awkward beginners into nimble and ninja soul adepts well on their way to soul mastery.
That's very illustrative, the way you described that.
Yeah,
I can
thank you.
almost see it. You mentioned earlier that you were at Coach U,
Yep.
and I know you trained with Thomas Leonard. So, how has that training influenced your methods and philosophy in coaching and healing?
Well, that's a good question. Thomas Leonard was considered by many people to be the father of coaching. Through the work he did, some of the great coaches of today were launched. some names that might be familiar to you would be Cheryl Richardson, Martha Beck, Julia Stewart, and that's to name a few. I can remember many classes I sat in with Julia Stewart, and we had a lot of fun. We began to find our true voices there. Um, Thomas was always pushing the boundaries of how people can experience life. And that's why the coaches that he trained and mentored became such leaders from the start. They all had a vision for what living could be and were able to inspire others to expand in ways that they could take full advantage of as a result. And I think, though, the biggest influence he had on me was to give me the courage to dare, the courage to become more, and the courage to step out on the edge of potential to see what's there. That's scary. But the training at Coach U gave me a professional foundation on which I could build. And I think even more than that, though, it opened the door to a fascinating new career in which I've grown so much and been able to help so many others.
I'm wondering how that affects the Soul Path Academy. So, can you explain the concept behind the Soul Path Academy and what it offers to those seeking transformation?
Yeah, and that's too is like an evolution. I didn't get my certificate from Coach U and go out and say, okay, I'm opening up the Soul Path Academy now. That took a while to understand that what was needed, and by working with people and experiencing the kinds of challenges that they were facing and the kind of things that they needed, the tools that they wanted and needed in order to make progress on the things that they were working on and how I could help them. So the Soul Path Academy is my passion project, and it's a culmination of really a lifetime of study in consciousness and personal growth and spirituality. And I would say it's designed as a vehicle for soul mastery and conscious evolution. We could think of it as a training ground for those who are ready to dive deep into their inner world and emerge transformed. At the
Mm,
core, the Soul Path Academy offers a structured and yet a flexible journey of self-discovery and transformation. And we're going to start by understanding what your soul type is, a comprehensive assessment that I'll share with you. And this helps you get a clear picture on your innate strengths, challenges, and then the unique path that your soul is on. And then from there, we offer a variety of programs and courses tailored to different stages of personal and spiritual development. Um, whether you're just beginning your journey or you're ready to take it to the next level, there's something for everyone here. And the curriculum is designed to help you upgrade your personal operating system, to cultivate presence and confront your fears and habits that no longer serve you, give you something different way to think about it, and a different way to be with everything that's going on in your life in ways that are much more satisfying and much more congruent with who you really are, not who someone else thinks you should be, but the true you at your core. And one of the unique aspects about the Soul Path Academy, it might make it a little different from other places, is that uh, our focus on practical application. It's not just about gaining knowledge. It's not about what you know or what you can do, but it's translating that into your daily life, because we have to get real, you know, that life can be hard, but
mhm,
in those adversity experiences, we can take what we have experienced from it and turn it into something that we can use. And through the Soul Path Academy, we'll be using a lot of different kind of tools, a mix of introspective exercises and some real world challenges. We'll take what you're working on, what you're facing right now, and turn that into a learning experience. It'll be a very
mm,
delightful and refreshing way to experience things. And from that, we'd also have some community support to ensure that the transformations that you're going through are deep and lasting and meaningful to you. Um, we're planning to create a vibrant, supportive community of like-minded individuals, and everyone is on their own journeys. So it's a place where you can share your experiences, gain insights, and support each other in a safe,
mhm.
nurturing environment. You'll find your tribe here, other people who have same kind of soul type as you, or who complement the soul type that you are, and they'll help you develop your personal mastery and proficiency. Um, I think ultimately the Soul Path Academy is about empowering you to live with more clarity, purpose, and personal power. It's about helping you to become the best version of yourself, and in doing so, to contribute to a world that no one needs to recover from.
Wow. A world that no one needs to recover from. That's powerful.
That's my dream. I hope it's a bunch of other people's dreams too.
Yeah, yeah. Something you said earlier, you mentioned the check engine light. As a soul mechanic, right? When you see the metaphorical check engine lights in someone's life, what are the first steps you take to help them start their tune up?
Well, first of all, they will be coming to me and telling me that they think their check engine light is flashing. That's something that they're experiencing in their world. It's not for me to determine. They're going to tell me about that. And then when someone comes to me, then the first thing I do is just to ask them, what's going on? What do you think is the problem here? What's the reason for this? And this simple, direct question opens the door for them to explore their perspective and experiences and to really begin to articulate what they think about what's happening. And I'll listen intently to whatever they're telling me. And this initial conversation is really crucial because it gives me a sense of who you are, and what might be underlying your challenges. And often, as people talk, they get an intuitive sense about what might be going wrong. And even if they can't articulate it fully, and that's one of the things I help them do, is just to express what their experience is like, so they get a sense of being seen and heard at a very deep level. Very few people are willing to take the time and the patience to sit there and go deeper, and then a little deeper and a little deeper. I can hear their key themes and patterns as they talk. Okay. And I can reflect some of that back to them. And based on what they share, I can ask follow-up questions and dive even deeper than that. It's sort of like being a detective. Um,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gathering clues to understand the root causes of an issue and help them understand it. My goal is to help them see the connection between their thoughts, their beliefs, and their current situation. And then once we have a clearer picture, we can start the actual tune-up. This involves probably working on their consciousness, their mind, their beliefs, the way that they typically approach something, and is there a different way to go about it? Can they shift just a little bit and have the approach work this time when it didn't
Mm,
before? And it
yeah.
doesn't take much. You'd be surprised that just a few degrees of a shift can make all the difference in the world. And that's why you need a mechanic, because if people don't know that, you get stuck in certain patterns. And I'm a shifter. I help you kind of say, well, would you be willing to step just a few steps this way and see what happens, and explore and try some things out and experiment? And that's what makes it fun, because I approach all the work I do with a very playful, curious mindset. And I have an invitational way of drawing you in to that kind of experience, so that when we're there, it's a whale of a lot of fun. It does not have to be hard and like, oh, this is tough and I'm scared and I don't want to do it. Well, let's shift all that around. What if it wasn't scary? What if you really knew inside all the time, but you pretended that you didn't? What would that change for you?
Mm.
I'm going to be asking questions like that. I'm going to be challenging you in those ways, but make it fun as much as possible. And that's not to say that I'm not holding you um, compassionately in the tender places, because we all have them. We all have those wounds. And I'm not here to poke at them and make them worse. Believe me, I've had people that I've worked with who've been in my own healing journey. I've had those kinds of experiences, and that's not the kind of place I want to be. And I don't want to invite anybody into those kind of places. We want to have things that really work, really feel good, and are really true for you. And that's what a soul mechanic does.
So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk more about you. Nancy, you have a rich tapestry of life experiences from your own personal struggles to your journey into Buddhism. So How do these experiences shape the way you coach and heal others?
Well, all of our life experiences just have a way of shaping us into whoever we are and the way that we work in the world. And for me, my life has indeed been quite the adventure. It's got a fair share of twists and turns. And, from surviving personal traumas and chronic illness and to a deep dive into Buddhism, which I began in my 20s. As I've been doing this a while, a kind of a parallel track along with my fascination with consciousness. And they go well together because Buddhism is all about being conscious and awake and aware. And that was probably one of the reasons I was attracted to it in the first place. It gave me answers to some of the big life questions that I had that I wasn't finding in any other belief systems. So one of the things that I notice in trying to answer your question here is that my personal struggles have given me a very deep well of empathy and resilience.
Hmm.
Um, when you've faced so many personal challenges yourself, it becomes much easier to understand and connect with others going through tough times. Um, I know and firsthand how dark and difficult life can be, but I also know the incredible strength and wisdom that can come from those experiences once you are willing to face them honestly and go through them, go past them, not skip over them, but honestly through the, the core of them, through the heart of the trouble. It takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of guts to do that. It takes a lot of inner uh, willingness to face yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And from this place, I can help create a safe and compassionate space for my clients, and they can feel seen and supported, and where they can explore their own truths as deeply as they want. And I would say also that apart from that aspect of things, Buddhism has taught me the importance of mindfulness, of presence, and non-attachment. And principles are central to my coaching approach, I think, because um, I help clients cultivate a mindful awareness of their thoughts and beliefs, which is essential for transformation. If you don't
Hmm.
know what you're working with, how can you change it or even know that you want to, right? Or that any kind of change is possible. So um, it's by being present and fully engaged with the moment we can better understand our inner workings and make conscious choices that lead to growth and expansion of our potential, who and what we can become. This is what every soul wants for every person. Your soul wants that for you, and I want that for you too, because that's how we get a beautiful world. And so, coming back again to some of the things that Buddhism has taught me, non attachment is a big one. Um, there are so many things going on in the world that distract us and uh, want our attention, pull on us, whether it's in our personal lives or just the media around us. It's just everywhere that we get bombarded with um, noise, I call it. And one of the things that non-attachment and presence helps me cultivate, and I help others in ways that I'm led, is also to be present to what's going on enough to sort out what's noise and what's the music. How do you find the music? How do you find your inner music? And is it the song you want to be singing? Is it the music you want to be playing? And if it isn't, what do you want to do about that?
Hmm.
Let's look at some ways where in this tune-up, we're going to say, could it be a little more harmonious? Could you bring in a few other elements to your orchestra? And those notes are going to make it richer and more fascinating and more beautiful so that what you're hearing and what you're putting out into the world is amazing.
Wow. Along those same lines, I know you took a sabbatical, right?
Mm.
What insights did you gain that have influenced your current practices?
I learned a lot. I mean, you just do when you are on a sabbatical, when you take time away from your normal everyday of routines and so forth. But I think the biggest insight that I had was that when we have something important to share with the world, we can't wait for the right moment. We can't hold back. We have to speak our truth, even if we think it doesn't matter, or even if our voices shake. Great gifts are given to us, not to hoard, but to share. So I've begun to release some of my fears about being judged or not being good enough so that I can finally speak my truth and share some of the wisdom I've gathered on this amazing spiral path that I've been on. I would say that's probably the biggest thing that I have learned because um, before the sabbatical, I was thinking always in the future that I'll do this when,
Mm.
and the when becomes now, that time becomes urgent, especially during the really transformative energies and cosmic energies that we're living through this year and during the coming few decades. This is going to be ongoing. We've opened up a whole new chapter for humanity. I'm excited to be part of it. I'm excited to work with people who
Mhm.
are key players in this, and you don't know if you will be or not.
Mm.
So why not try? Why not explore what's there for you?
So for people that come to you and have issues, what would you say is the most common challenge or issue that people come to you with? And how do you help them navigate through it?
Mm, that's a good question. I've thought about this a lot, and I think the most common challenge people come to me with is a feeling of restlessness or deep dissatisfaction.
Mm.
Sometimes they can't even put their finger on it. They don't know why they feel this way. But I can usually tell that um, it boils down to one core issue. They're not living the way their soul wants them to live. That's what's happening. That's why they need a soul mechanic because they don't even know how to talk with their soul, how to communicate with it half some of the time. And
Mm.
we're always getting messages from it. We're always getting either tapped on the shoulder or hit over the head. And sometimes it takes real dramatic events before we're willing to listen to that inner voice inside. But um, there's all kinds of surface level reasons for why we don't do that. And maybe it's a demanding job, a difficult relationship, societal pressures, but in the long run, those specifics don't matter so much. What matters is going deep enough to uncover the truth about what the soul is longing for. What is true for you? And someone comes to me feeling maybe a little bit lost or unfulfilled, dissatisfied in some way, we start by peeling back the layers to see what's really going on. What do they think is going on? And I reflect back what I can hear and see. And I listen closely to their story. And together we explore their beliefs and their thoughts. And we explore some of the life choices that led them to this point. How did you get here? What happened to your thinking? How did your thinking lead you here? And sometimes it's about helping you see the disconnect between your current life and the life your soul truly desires for you. Because I guarantee what your soul wants for you is so much more beautiful than you can even imagine. And it sometimes takes a while for people to get that. Like they go, really? And I go, well, what do you think? Listen, listen to yourself, listen to your higher self. What is it telling you? What does it want for you? What does it want from you in order to have that? Once we reach that point of clarity, the path forward becomes much more apparent to them and to me. And I support them in creating pathways through their obstacles, helping them make changes that align with their true self of what they're learning about themselves. And it could be anything, from the shifts could be very small or they could be really big. Uh,
Mm.
it could be a mix of those things, but it doesn't really matter because soul mastery, as I see it, is all about seeing the truth about yourself and having the courage to become who you intend and want to be despite all obstacles. It's a journey of profound self-discovery and transformation. And it requires both bravery and commitment. You can't start on this and say, oh, it's too hard. I think I'll give up. Don't do that, because the reward is a life that feels truly authentic and deeply fulfilling. Why would you want to give that up? Why would you want to risk losing all of that just because it's inconvenient or there's a little initial discomfort? Because the other side of it is guaranteed to be beautiful. I want more people to have that kind of experience, to live so intentionally that their souls feel deeply satisfied. And it's just incredibly rewarding to witness someone stepping into their true self and watching their misery transform into joy and purpose. And that's the magic of soul mastery. And it's what I live for.
Wow. Well, can you share with us a success story of someone who has undergone a profound transformation through your coaching at the Soul Path Academy?
Sure. All of my clients have success stories, but one of my favorites is the story of Steve. And if I had to give his story a title, it would be um, A Dream Too Big, which is common for a lot of people. Um, when Steve came to me, he was in a very dark place. He was stuck in a corporate job that he hated. He was unable to spend enough time with his family, and he was burdened by managing his household duties and his wife's chronic illness. And through our work, Steve rediscovered his true passions and potential solutions that he had overlooked or not even explored. He eventually decided to sell his house, move to a more relaxed state where life is much easier,
Hmm.
and to pursue his dream of becoming a published author. And today, Steve is a successful author with 3 books, and a fourth is on the way, and he's living a fulfilling life that aligns with his true self. He's a much happier guy now. And I'm so honored to have worked with Steve and have been part of his success story, and I'm happy to share it.
Wow. You know, listening to you talk, and I'm sure that there's someone watching who wants to make a change, right? So
Mhm.
I'm wondering, what advice would you give to someone who feels overwhelmed by the need for change, but they're hesitant to take that first step?
Oh, it's a fantastic question. Feeling overwhelmed by the prospect of change is something I see all the time. That's how people come here, you know. Um, they come to me because they don't know what to do, and they want somebody who does know what to do about that. And it's completely natural to feel hesitant, and especially when the changes we think we need to make seem daunting or unclear. Why wouldn't we feel that way? Um, so the first piece of advice I'd give is to start small, just baby steps. Baby steps. Change doesn't have to happen all at once. I love a quote that I don't know if you remember back it's back a few decades maybe now, but there was a group of people called the Satellite Sisters, and they were sisters in a family, and they would connect by satellite and talk with each other, and they would be broadcast out. And it was they were hysterically funny and had very real world problems. But one of their quotes was, "You can have it all, just not all at once." And that's a message I kind of want to give, is
Wow.
that some of the most profound transformations begin with the tiniest of steps. You can think of it like planting a seed. You don't see the tree overnight, but with time and care, it grows. And there's nothing stronger than those big sequoias, in California.
Yeah.
Those giant trees, they started teeny tiny little seed. And so can you. So you identify one small thing that you can do today that moves you in the direction you want to go. It could be as simple as spending 5 minutes in quiet reflection, jotting down your thoughts in a journal, or even reaching out to someone you trust for some support or feedback, do some brainstorming. Those are small steps, but they're things that are doable. You can do those things. No matter how busy you are, no matter how chaotic your life is, small things are doable. And so we start there. Okay. And secondly, this is a piece of really important advice. Be kind to yourself. change is hard, and it's okay to feel scared or uncertain. And give yourself permission to have those feelings and without judging them. And just recognize that every step, no matter how small, is progress. You celebrate those little victories all along the way because they add up. Step after step after step, you get to your destination eventually. If we had a rocket ship or an airplane we could put you on and take you over all those steps, we would do that. And sometimes you can. I'll show you the way to do that if there is one, right? We'll figure that out.
Right.
But until then, keep doing the small steps until you can see, look, look how far I've come just by doing those small steps. Another important thing that I would offer is to connect with your why. Why do you want to make this change? Why are you attempting something? What is your soul yearning for? When you tap into the deeper reasons behind your desire for change, um, it becomes a source of motivation and strength. It provides some fuel for you when it feels hard. It's like having a guiding star
Mm.
that keeps you focused and moving forward, even when things get tough, because you can see where you're going. You can see that's where I want to be. I want to go over there. And that's why I'm working so hard because I can still see it. I know it's there. I know I'm going to get there. And it's worth putting the effort in because it's so beautiful where I'm going. Okay. And then finally, seek support. You don't have to do it alone. Help is not a four-letter word. It's something we should be using more of. Ask for help, whether it's a coach, a friend, a community. Having someone to share your journey can make a world of difference. You can get encouragement, perspective, and practical advice when you need it most. So remember, no matter how long your journey is, it all begins with a single step, no matter what it is, and no matter who you are. Taking that first step, no matter how small, is an act of courage and it's a powerful statement of commitment to your own growth and your own well being. So embrace it with an open heart and trust that you have everything you need within you to navigate the path ahead, no matter what that path is going to look like. You already have it, you're already ready.
Mm.
So let's go.
That's great advice. That is powerful. Those are powerful words. You pour into so many, Nancy. Like, how do you stay inspired and continue to evolve in your practice as a soul mechanic?
Oh, that's a great question. I'll tell you, I'm inspired daily by the beauty of the natural world and the amazing energy of children and young people. They're our hope for the future, and they're fascinating beings. If you really study kids, wow, you'll learn a lot. So I watch in the world. I take in the playfulness of animals and pets, and I get inspired by the courage of ordinary heroes who take the time to go an extra mile, even when they didn't have to. Those people are really special to me, and they make it seem like, you know, I'm not alone. I don't have to do everything alone. There are other people in the world who whose job it is to do these particular tasks and things, and I'm fine just doing what my piece is. And I have a contribution to make. I'm happy to do that. But the other thing, I live in a beautiful part of the world, and I try to get out into nature as often as I can for hikes and reflection and recharging my batteries. And I'm also blessed with an active uh, Buddhist practice and sobriety practices that feed me and keep me stable, and a community of change makers who inspire and challenge me every day. um, among my self-care practices, I cook healthy meals for me and my partner. Uh, I maintain a positive atmosphere in my home. I write almost daily and share my thoughts with my followers and clients regularly. I have to say that I think it's a rare day that I don't learn something new or contribute something and participate in some way that makes the world a better place. And that's
Mm.
how I continue to evolve. It's just pretty simple. I like keeping it simple.
Wow. You you seem to have a good grip or a good hold on what you do, what you offer, and how you help. I'm wondering your thoughts on, modern coaching now. In what ways do you think modern coaching methods can better incorporate some of your spiritual and
Mhm.
holistic practices for deeper healing?
That's a really great question. And honestly, I will say, first of all, that I don't have all the answers. I know my own practice and I have some ideas about
Mhm, mhm,
um, what could make things better in the world. I see some ways where we could. And I believe that integrating our spiritual and holistic practices into modern coaching methods can significantly deepen the impact and effectiveness of the work that we do. There's a few key ways that that could happen. First of all, and I think this is important for everybody, not just in the coaching profession, but we have to get beyond the surface issues. We're operating at such a shallow level most of the time because of the distractions. They pull us away from what's important and what really is meaningful to us. And we need to recognize that we're more than just our minds or our bodies. We're complex beings with spiritual dimensions that play a crucial role in the overall well-being of ourselves and of the world. So by acknowledging and addressing this, coaches can help clients to tap into a deeper source of wisdom and strength. And practices like meditation and mindfulness and breath work are fantastic tools that can help clients connect with their inner selves and cultivate a sense of peace and clarity. I think that's important. Um, Another important aspect is to create a safe and sacred space for clients to explore their spiritual beliefs and experiences. And without particular regard to any specific religion or dogma, you don't need those to do this work. Um, that would mean being open and non-judgmental and allow clients to express their spirituality in whatever way feels authentic to them. And when clients feel seen and heard in their entirety, including their spiritual side, it fosters a deeper level of trust and openness that can be real. And that's really important. Um, there's so much that's artificial, I want to say, in
mhm,
life these days.
mhm,
And
mhm,
we have to get past that. We have to get what's true and real for ourselves and for each other so that we can connect meaningfully. That's where change happens. That's where understanding happens. That's where trust can grow and build. And I think also holistic practices, like I've described, emphasize the interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit. And that means looking at everyone in a whole way, a wholesome way. Their physical health, their emotional state, their relationships, their spiritual well-being, not just the business things that they're coming to solve, right? But
mhm,
you can help client address imbalances in those ways that can be affecting what happens for the big goals that they're trying to reach.
mhm,
Address them in a comprehensive manner. And that can lead to more profound and lasting transformations and ensure that nothing important is overlooked or ignored. And then finally, well, this maybe not finally, but I think that incorporating some strategies for better self-management and conflict resolution is crucial. We need more tools for that in the world. Humanity does. Individuals do, families do, communities do, governments do. The world needs more of this. It's the world is facing significant challenges with polarizing views, and it's not just our country, it's all over the world. We can see that. And the growing edge for humanity is to learn how to cooperate in ever more creative and healthy ways rather than defaulting to reactive behaviors that don't lead to peace. They don't lead to good outcomes. And we see that in the world too. Wherever there's conflict and war, it seems intractable. And you can look at several hotspots in the world and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. By teaching clients effective self-management techniques and conflict resolution skills, we can help them navigate their personal and professional lives more harmoniously, but also help them to contribute to creating some lasting solutions for our world, some sustainable solutions. We really need those too. And we need people who are capable of showing up that way, who can and will do this. So we can help teach people to do this. We can lead them there. We can foster situations and environments where this is possible and probable so that we get that kind of outcome. Let's equip people with better skills.
Mhm.
That's one of the things that the beauty of coaching I see that it does and can do ever more effectively in our world. It's really needed right now. Um, and I would say, furthermore, education and continuous learning are vital. We have to keep ahead of the game ourselves. We have to keep refreshing our own browsers, if you will. Uh, as coaches, we need to stay informed and open to emerging technologies and to various spiritual and holistic practices. Like I say, it's rarely a day goes by that I don't learn something new, and I have to keep my growing edge vital. And I think people in general would be well served if they did that too, especially in the coaching profession and in the helping professions. Learn what's new and emerging, ways that we can help other people better serve them. When we do these things that I've just named, we can help our clients and help individuals achieve not just their personal goals, but also some deeper healing and fulfillment. We can equip them to become the change makers that the world really needs to provide a really beautiful uh, future for ourselves, our children, and the world to come.
You have a really beautiful way of describing what you do and how you help people and what we can do to make the world a better place. What is standing in our way to getting there? That's what
Mm.
I want to know.
That's a really good question. I would say that soul mastery is a deeply transformational journey, and it's like any significant endeavor. It comes with its fair share of obstacles. It just does.
Hmm.
One of the biggest challenges I see is the presence of deeply ingrained, limited beliefs. Um, these are the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of, and why we can't do things. Why things aren't working. Those are stories that we tell ourselves, and they're often rooted in past experiences and sometimes societal conditioning. Like, I'm a woman, therefore I can only fit into these little boxes that they give us, right? Um, those things can create a lot of resistance to change and keep us stuck in patterns that don't serve our highest good. And we need to find our ways out of those and beyond them and through them. That's one of the things that we would look at in as a as a tune-up for you, for instance, of what are those things keeping you from your highest good and from what your soul wants for you. What are you ready to give that up? You could. It might get you where you want to be and feel better.
Hmm. Yeah.
Another major obstacle, as in many things in life, is fear. Uh, Fear of the unknown, a fear of failure, even fear of success. Stepping into our true selves and living in alignment with our soul's desires can be intimidating. Uh, it, it requires courage to face these fears and move forward despite them. And then there's the challenge of distraction and busyness. In today's fast-paced world, stepping into our true selves, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of daily life and lose touch with our inner true selves.
Hmm.
And so making time for introspection, mindfulness, and spiritual practices, it can be difficult, but it's essential for soul mastery. And like I said, when we were talking before, you can start with small steps. You don't have to do it all at once, and most of us can't. So don't expect that of yourself. Don't set unrealistic expectations that are going to be so hard to fulfill that you'll just give up and say, ah, it's too hard. I can't do that. So not for me.
Yeah.
Well, give it a chance. So another thing is attachment to your comfort zones. We all have those. Like, it just feels good here. I don't want to leave. I feel safe. It feels yummy. Don't make me get out of bed. You know? those those are the growth requires stepping out of what feels safe and familiar. It can be uncomfortable. So whether it's a job or a relationship or a lifestyle or anything else, letting go of what no longer serves us can be a daunting task. And but intentional living brings rewards that you can't even imagine when you're stuck. So it's worth finding out what's on the other side of this. Don't you think it might be a little bit better? Be worth checking out. So societal and cultural pressures can also be significant obstacles. We live in a world that sometimes values external success over inner fulfillment, and this can lead to internal conflicts. Um, Finding the courage to define success on your own terms and live authentically can be challenging, but ultimately rewarding. So, my view is that the journey towards soul mastery is incredibly worthwhile. Obviously, or I wouldn't be on my own. I'd be doing something else. But I find tremendous rewards in it, and so do my clients. By addressing and overcoming these and any other challenges that come up, we can live more fully and authentically. We can breathe in clear to our core. We can create a life that truly resonates with who we are. And by living that way, my clients are learning to live that way. You can learn to live that way. It is so worth it.
Wow, Nancy, this has been such a fulfilling chat. Like, it's been heartwarming, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here. And before we end, I want to ask you one more question. And this is something that I ask all of my guests. I would love if you could share with us something that your clients or someone in your audience has said that they didn't know before working with you.
They didn't know what it feels like to be heard so deeply that they can feel who they are.
Mm.
They didn't know that anyone could listen to them that way. I've had many clients say that they'd pay me any amount of money I wanted just so they could be heard that way. They could be seen and heard that way. And we don't really, I mean, it's kind of sad that there aren't more people who are capable to do that, of being in someone's presence so deeply and so openly, so lovingly, that you can be you and you know it without any obstacles, without anything standing between that experience and your truth. So that I would have to say is probably the most common thing people say, that they didn't know what it felt like, and they're so happy that they did. And it changes them. It changes them forever.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Wow. Nancy, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today and to share with our viewers and our audience what you do and how you are helping not only to make this world a better place, but how you're helping your clients to make this world a better place and work on themselves.
Mm.
Um, Everyone watching, if you would like to continue this journey with Nancy, check the description box and you can connect with her there. However, we add her links there, but do that. If you're ready to get on the path to your soul mastery, then connect with Nancy. And
Mm.
thank you again for being with us